Good afternoon. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Savitri Krishnamurthy. I teach English and logic at BYJU'S exam prep. Today, as usual, is a Tuesday and therefore I am back with my editorial analysis. As you know, the editorial analysis is from a reading and a linguistic point of view. I've picked up an editorial from the Hindu today. This editorial appeared maybe last Friday. All right. Hello, Sonali. What did you read last week? I told you all every week your homework is to do some reading, right? Did you manage to read anything? What did you read? If you read the newspaper, you would have read this editorial, so that would make it easier for you to answer questions, though that's not the purpose of the... mock passages, you took mock tests, excellent. Ashes, you watched the Ashes match? Well, West Indies, India, to barish ho gaya kal. I don't know what happened after that, I got bored. But if you're interested in cricket, instead of watching the cricket match, you can watch the match and later look at an article on the match. I'm fine. I hope y'all are fine too. How come everyone's so lazy? Only 4 of you here today? All right, but we have a lot to do. So what I've done is, the Hindu editorial is from a reading comprehension point of view, and then I've selected an editorial on the same topic that I want you to analyze and tell me the similarities and the differences between the two articles. All right, as usual, we will spend about 40 seconds on what happened to the... we will spend about 40 seconds on each slide. All right? Okay, start. Good afternoon, Vaishnav. Start. 40 seconds, let me time you. Good afternoon, Shri. Good afternoon, Harshita. Done with the first slide, or because you joined a little late, you still are reading it? When the first student gets done, I'm going to move on to the next slide. All right. 1 minute. I give you only 40 seconds. How can I give you 1 more minute? All right. Next slide. I'll read it again for you in the entire editorial quickly, but you read it on your own. Form your first impressions. Another 40 seconds for the second slide. It's very hard to keep me silent. It's an effort. So I look at the timer and try to stay silent. Next slide. Read, simplify in your own words. What is the slide about? Teesta Settlebird case, Gujarat High Court ruling, Supreme Court ruling. In one sentence, summarize what you have read. That's what I want you to do, so that you remember what you have read. Right? Moving on to the next slide. All right. So now I'm going to quickly read the passage. Give me true and false answers. What is the subject of the passage? What is the passage talking about? I'm going to go back and read it for you. But because it's a legal passage on a legal issue, on a case that's going on, you know how lawyers are. Well, editors writing on law the language would be a little more difficult than if it's on anything else. Passages on the economy, on inflation, on law, constitutional cases tend to have more difficult language use, right? So somebody tell me, what is the topic of the passage? Subject. What are we talking about? Constitution, law, Teesta Settlebird, Supreme Court, Gujarat High Court. What are we talking about? In one sentence, in one word, if you have to describe the passage, which is the most important word or name in the passage? I want your answers quickly. Courts should adopt a clear-headed and common sense approach while considering the grant of bail. So when courts have to consider giving bail to somebody or denying bail to somebody, what should their approach be? Well, for any case, you need common sense and you need a clear head. You need to think logically. And they should eschew the tendency, won't tell you the meaning of eschew, to keep someone in prison mainly because the police oppose the bail. Just because the police is opposing bail, the court should not deny bail. The police and their objections is not important when the court is deciding is kisi ko bail dena hai ki nahi. In granting regular bail to activist Teesta Settlebird, so the whole case, the passage is about Teesta Settlebird and the case against her. The Supreme Court of India has effectively rebuffed the Gujarat police. Now the players, Supreme Court, Teesta Settlebird, and now you have the Gujarat police. The Gujarat police stand that the purported gravity of the offense she is accused of is enough to deny her bail. So what did the police of Gujarat say? Don't deny her, don't give her bail. Why? Very serious offense she has created, so don't give bail. Supreme Court did not agree with this reasoning used by the Gujarat police. As the case depends mainly on documentary evidence, all of it forming part of the charge sheet. So they already have documentary evidence. When filing the charge sheet, they have given the documentary evidence. The entire case is dependent on that documentary evidence. So the court said there is no need to imprison or keep her in judicial custody. Further, Ms. Settlebird has been subjected to custodial interrogation during a 7-day police remand shortly after her arrest in June 2022. So when does this case date to? It dates to June 2022, where she was arrested. She was in the prison. She was under custodial interrogation. When she was in police custody, they interrogated her. They questioned her thoroughly, and so they got all her answers then itself, whatever she wanted to say. And she was not called in for any further questioning ever since she was granted interim bail by the Supreme Court in September. Arrested in June, Supreme Court offered her bail in September. After that, the police did not question her. First paragraph over. In effect, the 3-judge bench headed by Justice B.R. Gawai saw no reason to imprison someone during trial solely because the police strongly argued that she had allegedly fabricated evidence and goaded victims of the 2002 pogrom in Gujarat. The police said she had concocted her own evidence. All these allegations of the police, the court did not see as serious enough to deny her bail. All right? The court posed some pertinent questions to the Gujarat police. What did they ask? The case of forgery and fabrication of evidence was registered shortly after the Supreme Court had observed. The Supreme Court had given a ruling. The ruling was given in another case, and it involved a riot victim's plea. In that case, the Supreme Court had rejected the riot victim's plea, saying that you cannot just malign a state government and its functionaries. If somebody is trying to do that, just because you want to give the state government a bad name, that should not be. Such people who are making up these cases against the state, they should be arrested, put in the dock, means face trial. And what did the Gujarat police do? Immediately after this case, this ruling of the Supreme Court, the Gujarat police arrested Sakil Ward. So the Supreme Court said, you arrested her immediately after this ruling. Miss Settleward had been arrested within a day of the Supreme Court ruling. And what did the court do? It had questions about what investigation it had conducted within such a short time. One day, what did you find out serious enough that she was arrested? That's what the court asked. Notably, the apex court bench was of the view that the High Court order, the Gujarat High Court had given an order, and the Supreme Court had something to say about the High Court also. So you see lots of players here, and the Supreme Court is sitting and criticizing everybody here. All right, where it says that the High Court order refused bail to her, and when it refused bail to her, it contradicted itself. How did it contradict itself? This is the answer. I have not given this as a question because it becomes hard for a YT session. But initially, the High Court had a ruling that on a prima facie case, it cannot just, give bail or refuse give bail. The prima facie case, that it has just the basics of a case, on that it cannot just deny or give bail. When it is doing that, I am in the middle of an explanation, Hrithik. Please pay attention to the passage. बाद में जब fact inference judgment या flawed reasoning के हम classes करेंगे, तब आपको answer देंगे. Please follow the flow of this passage now. All right? So the Supreme Court criticized the Gujarat police. It criticized the High Court. And then the author is saying the ruling is yet another reminder that an order of bail must be the norm after considering this. When should the government deny bail? When should a court deny bail? Under two conditions. One, that the witness will flee justice, run away from the country. Second, the witness will tamper with evidence, tamper with witnesses after the trial. If such is the case, then only bail can be denied. Okay? The gravity of the offense given by the Gujarat police can be considered, but it need not be the only consideration as it has been given in the Gujarat police case. Did you get all the points of this? How does the author end? The trial is soon to begin in a sessions court in Ahmedabad. One hopes it will settle the question whether activists assisting victims ought to have been proceeded against on the charge of trying to implicate innocent political leaders. So what's the charge against Teesta Settleward? Something to do with these lines. Clear? All right. We have read the passage. I have read it to you again. I'm not going to summarize it. We'll go straight to the questions. What's the main point? What's the thematic highlight? Thematic highlight is nothing but the main idea, the main theme of the passage. Easy. We've read the passage. You've read it. I've read it for you again. Court should follow the path of care and caution while granting bail. Courts have been granting or denying bail for random reasons in recent months. Courts should not grant bail on the recommendations of law enforcers. a rational approach should be adopted by courts while considering whether to grant bail or not. Very weak in English, please read, follow the editorial classes, you will pick up. Alright? Okay. Most of the answers that have come are for D. My question, why not A? Rational approach is the same as care and caution or not? Is a B, Nishant, it is not B because B is Supreme Court's criticism about what happened in this particular case with the Gujarat High Court. So it is not the main point. Main point is way beyond that. Supreme Court granting bail to Teesta Setalwad, examples it has given in the process, how it has criticized the Gujarat police and the Gujarat High Court. This is one of the points of criticism against the Gujarat High Court. So this cannot be the main point of the program. Alright, yes, read editorials, read articles. So this is not the main point. So option is correct. Rational approach is not the same as care and caution. Care and caution mean the same thing. Caution about what? What should they be careful about? They should use logic and common sense. Okay? Care and caution is a very vague term. Alright, so the correct answer is D. Very good, you got that right. Next one. Which one of the following cannot be inferred about the Teesta Setalwad case? Which one of the following? Start with editorials, Hindu, Indian Express. Then move on to Aeon essays. Aeon essays are very long. So many of you lose your patience before you can finish the passage. Which is why start with editorials. They are short, written in very good English, use reasoning. Alright. अभी आप मेरे साथ RC solve करो फिर हो जाएगा. पहले solve कीजिए. बाद में हम, when we are doing the short question answer session at the end, I'll talk to you. Alright. Alright. RC तो अभी आप मेरे साथ कीजिए. Please answer the questions on RC instead of asking me how to solve an RC. मेरे साथ आप ये RC solve कीजिए. High Court of Gujarat had denied bail to Teesta Setalwad in a case where it contradicted itself. True. Because the Supreme Court said you contradicted yourself when you said this. Right? So it denied bail to Teesta Setalwad and in the process it contradicted itself. Because initially it said we cannot consider or deny bail based on a prima facie case. The first case which comes. The Supreme Court granted bail to Teesta Setalwad against the Gujarat police's stand. Yes, it rebuffed the Gujarat police and then it decided to go ahead. Correct. She is likely to influence witnesses. The Supreme Court said that most of the evidence against her is documentary. Therefore, this cannot work. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Alright, 80% you will increase your accuracy. 7 to 7.5 minutes for RC is very good. Alright, so question 2C, not D. Which one cannot be involved? Vedant. The question is cannot be inferred, not can be inferred. Okay? Alright, question 3. Which one of the following can be deduced from the above statement? Same as inferred. One hopes it will settle the case whether activists assisting victims ought to have been proceeded against on the charge of trying to implicate innocent political leaders. The Sessions Court in Ahmedabad is finally going to have a hearing in the Teesta Setalwad case. And he says, one hopes that this question will be settled. So what can you infer from this? Teesta Setalwad is an activist who assisted victims of some unjust act. Teesta Setalwad aimed to implicate innocent political leaders in the case. Teesta Setalwad was a former member of the Supreme Court. Teesta Settleward used her political connections to avoid custodial intervention. Okay, somebody was asking, how do I answer questions? Has anything been given about custodial intervention, political connections? Anything in the passage been mentioned about Teesta Settleward and her political connections? Which may be true, but nothing has been mentioned. Clearly, it's an incorrect answer. Like Kaun Banega Crorepati, 2 answer options, computer G says no. Like that, you can immediately reject 2 answers in most questions. Former member of the Supreme Court, nothing has been given. Between A and B, this is the accusation of the court, and the author says we have to see whether activists assisting victims, so she was an activist assisting victims, they put the charge against her that she is trying to implicate innocent political leaders. So therefore A, yes. B, whether the charge is correct or not, you don't know. So B cannot be the answer. The correct answer is A. Got it, all of you? Good. Next. One hopes it, again the same thing, it will settle the question whether activists assisting victims ought to have been proceeded against on the charge of trying to implicate political leaders. The same sentence. In that, we drew an inference. Inference means you take the facts and you make a prediction based on what's given in the fact. Assumption, on what basis has the author made this statement? So what is the basis of the author's hope? The hopes of the authors are based on which of the following options? What is the assumption made by the author in this sentence? What is he taking for granted in this sentence? One hopes the court will settle this question. So the assumption is the court is going to look at this session. Instead of talking about whether Teesta Settleward is guilty or not, the first thing it's going to see is this case against an activist justified in the first place or not? Therefore, the correct answer is C. Excellent. Excellent. All of you got it? Hrithik got it? Excellent. All right. Which of the following can be inferred about the opinion of the Supreme Court on the arrest of Teesta Settleward? जून में पहले अरेस्ट हुआ था, फिर अभी अरेस्ट हुआ. Bail was denied. So what did the Supreme Court say about this arrest? What can you infer about the Supreme Court's comments? It had commented about the arrest. So based on that, what can you infer? The arrest was justified as it came in the wake of the Supreme Court's ruling in the riot victims case. And something coming in the wake means something coming immediately after it as a result of it. All right. So was it in line with the in the wake? Did the Supreme Court think the arrest was justified? No. The arrest was made hastily in one day. What evidence did you get that you arrested her? The ruling was there. You used the ruling to arrest her. One day. How did you gather evidence? What evidence did you gather in one day? Therefore, the arrest was made hastily. B is the correct answer. Excellent. All right. Now we go back to the vocabulary part. Reading khatam ho gaya. Aur bhi reading hai. There's another excerpt from an editorial. Which of the following is the synonym of vehemence? If you protest vehemently, if you answer with vehemence, what does vehemence mean? Violence, tension, intensity, or culpability? Give me the question numbers. 6C, I'm getting the answer for C. Agreed? If I accuse you of something, you will deny it vehemently. Vehemently means जोर से, एकदम जोश और energy के साथ. So with intensity. You protest vehemently means loudly, with full energy, passion, intensity. All right? It may involve violence, but vehemence by itself doesn't mean violence. All right? What does culpability means? Guilt. If you are culpable of something, that means you are guilty of something. Okay, culpa means blame, blameworthy. That is culpability. Okay. All right. The word purported. Let's see where purported has been used. So I want you to identify the part of speech and the meaning. Purported has been used somewhere. That's why I thought easier for me to identify it. So I thought I had highlighted it. Purported gravity, that is the word they used. Here, this should have been highlighted. Rebuffed the Gujarat police stand that the perfect Pratyusha, purported gravity of the offence she is accused of is enough to deny her bail. Purported gravity of the offence. So what part of speech is it? The word purported has been used as what? In the expression purported gravity, the word purported has been used as what? Noun, adjective, adverb, verb. What is it and what does it mean? Someone comes to your house and she, generally when we were kids we would tell that, no? We tell our mother that somebody wants to study. So the purported purpose of your going to your friend's house is to study. Such nahi hai, but parents ko bolna hai, so you'll say for the purported reason. Purported is apparent, may not be true. So therefore purported gravity. Gravity is a noun. Purported reason, that's a noun. So it's an adjective. And what does it mean? It means apparent. What looks like the purpose may not be the actual purpose. That is apparent. Got it? Verb nahi hai. Verb is an action word. Okay, he did something. It's an action word. Adjective is the word that always comes before a noun. Gravity. Seriousness. Seriousness is a noun. Therefore, it's an adjective and the meaning is apparent. जो दिखाई दे रहा है may not be the truth. Okay? Which one is an antonym of implicate? So the accusation, the charge against Teesta Settlewad is she tried to implicate innocent political leaders. So she tried to do what? And what is the opposite of that? Implicate, involve somebody. If you involve somebody in a case, it becomes incriminate, right? So involve, incriminate and absorb are synonyms, okay? Absolve is to free from blame. I absolve you of all your sins, free you from blame. So sometimes we do pujas to absolve you of a sin. You do fasts. Sometimes somebody will tell you, do this yajna, it will absolve you of your sins, free you from it, cleanse you from it. Alright, so the answer is C. Sai Hriday, you will also answer that fast. Once you start building. Ab aaj ke words to aapko yaad rahega. Slowly you will start answering. Alright? Every Tuesday, this is our deal. You come, you attend the class, you read, and then the word malign has been used as what part of speech and what does it mean? Let's here go back to the passage, okay? Always, when you don't know the meaning of a word especially, go back to the passage where the word is used. Read the sentence. Those who had sought to malign the state governments should be put in the dock. Those who had sought to malign the state government should be put in the docks. Okay. Now, substitute the word malign with your own words. Those who had sought to criticize, hit, do whatever, praise also. So, what kind of word is that? What part of speech is that? Are you trying to criticize me? Are you trying to praise me? So, it's an action. The act of criticizing, the act of praising. So malign is maligning somebody, maligning the state government. So malign is a verb and it means to vilify, to spoil the name of somebody. Got it? So to malign is to slander. Suppose suddenly you say something very wrong about me which harms my reputation. Then you are maligning me. Okay? You are vilifying me. You are spreading evil and false stories about me, harming my reputation. Therefore, that is the meaning of vilify. Slander, malign, vilify, all mean the same thing. Clear? Which of the following is a synonym of eschew? I told you I won't tell you. Okay? Right at the beginning, the passage uses the word eschew. I'll talk to you about vocabulary building. I'll talk to you about reading at the end of the class. Quickly. The court should eschew the tendency to keep someone in prison because the police say so. Just because the police say so, court should eschew the tendency to do it. Okay? So what does the meaning of eschew mean? What is the meaning of the word eschew? If I am giving you an advice, I'll say you should eschew the tendency to drive fast. So what am I telling you to do? I'm telling you to drive fast, or I'm telling you to avoid the tendency to, eschew means to avoid. Alright? Good. Lure means to attract. Okay? Or to coax somebody. Alright, now the same Supreme Court verdict from another newspaper. Just read it. Alright, the Supreme Court on Wednesday passed an order quashing, cancelling. Quash means to cancel. The Gujarat High Court judgment dismissing the regular bail application of Teesta Setalwat and granted her regular bail. The order comes as a relief not only to Setalwat but also reassures citizens. The SC is there to protect them from the tyranny of the state as well. I'll answer all your questions. Alright, I'll answer all your questions on vocabulary, on reading, on how important is vocabulary for reading. The Supreme Court is there to protect them from the tyranny of the state as well as judicial functionaries. The latter at times manifests in the form of orders such as the one issued by the Gujarat High Court. What is the language of this passage like? Just read it. Making laws is not enough to ensure the dispensation of justice. While the ruler tends to tamper with the basic structure of the rule of law, judges should be guided by it and protect and enforce it without fear or favor. They should resist any encroachment on their independence. Unfortunately, the Gujarat High Court's order neither upheld its independence against the executive nor faithfully interpreted the law and the fundamental principles that underlie it. It failed to protect the Constitution. It failed to protect the rights of the individual. It failed to perform its essential role. Thank you, Supreme Court, for standing by the individual. Thank you, Supreme Court, for standing for the Constitution. So, my question, what do you think of the second article? What do you think of the second article? Is the style different from the first? We're talking of the same case. Teesta Setalwat granting bail to Teesta Setalwat. Supreme Court, Gujarat High Court, same thing. So what is the second article? Do you like the language of the second article? Do you find a difference in the language in the second article? Yes, no, quickly. The second article, what is the tone of the second article? Positive and admiring towards whom, Pratyusha? There are 3 people here. No, this is only an excerpt. This is not the entire article. The first was objective. In the first one, did the first article criticize the Gujarat High Court on its own? It just said what the Supreme Court said about the Gujarat High Court. It did not directly criticize the Gujarat High Court, the first article. This article, on the other hand, an entire paragraph, it said the Gujarat High Court did not act independently, did not uphold the law, did not uphold the fundamental rights, did not protect the rights of the citizens. So strong criticism against a court, right? It is praising the Supreme Court, but it is criticizing the Gujarat High Court. All right. It in the article, I have not given the full article, too much to read. All right. So this is a personal preference. Which style of writing do you like more? The first article or the second one? Whose style of writing do you like more? The first one is a little careful in what it says. The Supreme Court did this, the Gujarat High Court, the Supreme Court said, the Gujarat High Court in denying bail contradicted itself. The first was balanced. The second one is hard hitting. First one was Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Second one was Virat Kohli, who goes after the umpires, goes after the bowlers. It was just strongly worded. I'm not going to mince my words, it is said, Therefore, the second one is stronger. No, not when you are in court. It basically has not gone to the extent of contempt of court. When a case is going on, if you criticize the court. Okay, here the Supreme Court itself has criticized the actions of the High Court, which is what the editor has done. So they know. They have legal advisors. All right. So now let me just quickly take your questions. Is vocabulary important for CAT? There are no direct vocabulary questions in CAT, but if your vocabulary is good, you automatically read the passage faster and you can answer questions better. So having a good vocabulary is important. Having said that, if you are taking CAT 2023, this time you should not be sitting with Norman Lewis and Word Power Made Easy. Rather, every day attend the YT sessions, half an hour vocabulary ka, half an hour RC, half an hour something, and start with your CAT preparations. Plus, read every day, devote 45 minutes to reading. Okay, Sai Hriday, improving your RCs is how much you read. It comes with practice. Read, and then let's say you have already read this article, Friday editorial tha ye Hindu ka. If you've already read it, you read it and see is there any difference when you are reading it a second time. Do you understand better? Time yourself when you read. Okay, if you are taking 10 minutes to read an editorial, next time see if you can read it with equal comprehension for 8 minutes. If you can complete the article in 8 minutes. So time yourself and make sure you don't take more than 7 minutes to read the passage. All right. People can doubt, but that does not mean the judiciary is above criticism. Right? Contempt of court for certain things, but you can say that this was not right. Okay? That's why you are given the right to appeal against a court's verdict. All right? So, I think consistent practice, regular reading will help you. Vaishnav, attend our critical reasoning sessions. Okay? So, from the basics, we can start with critical reasoning. All right? Vikrant and I will be taking a few critical reasoning sections, but YT, it's see our pedagogy and see if our lessons in the paid classes, we obviously do very detailed discussion from the basics of critical reasoning, but I can give you an idea about critical reasoning once I start taking other sessions. The purpose of this session is just reading comprehension, which also will help your reasoning skills. All right. Okay. Unlock your free trial for joining our paid courses. You get a 3-day free trial. Decide if you like our content, our pedagogy, And then, of course you will. And then join our paid courses. All right. We have all this. The moment you enroll, you have access to all this. 80 plus mocks, practice questions, topic tests, test series, video solutions of all the tests, 3 All India open mocks. The next one will be an open mock. Please take it. And detailed mock analysis. Okay. We had a lot of toppers last year in our 2022 CAT batch, those who were part of our enrolled students. Many more. Hope to see you as one of them. Okay. New batches are on for CAT 2023 program. We have our fast track batches which have started, where you have all these facilities, including, remember, it's not just for the written test. We accept students on the basis that they're going to clear the written test and be called for the GDPI. So the GDPI is part of your course fee. WAT also. On July 30th at 11 a.m. Srinivas will be taking a session on roadmap to 99 percentile in CAT. Do attend it. Plan your preparation strategy accordingly. Register for the session so that you will not miss the session. Join our social media handles and attend all our sessions. Share and subscribe this video. If you like this session, do press the like button. Remember, your feedback is very important to us. They will say, ma'am, likes nahi, there were not enough likes. I say, what can I do? All right, it's a feedback whether you like the session, whether I should continue with the session in this way. And it's a feedback to my managers whether this session should be kept here at all. Because your half an hour to 40 minutes is precious. In this 40 minutes, would you be spending on this session or something else? If you like the session, do press the like button. All right, I will see you again next Tuesday, same time. Bye-bye.